If I had been bullet journaling while I was at school, I would have been such a more successful student, but what would I have actually set up in my bullet journal to help keep me organized and on top of my studies? Starting at the back of my notebook, I'd actually have removed a piece of paper so that I could set up a timetable for myself. I want this timetable to be in a very accessible spot, mainly being the inside cover of my journal, but because the inside cover doesn't have dot grid paper, it's a little bit hard to set up a timetable grid that actually has straight lines and looks presentable. So removing this dot grid piece of paper so that we can draw on that and then stick it in is how I'd tackle it. I actually used to do a similar thing when I first started bullet journaling, but typically I just make the timetable on a computer, print it out and stick it in. If we're just meeting, hi, I'm Jess or JashiiCorrin. I used to be a teacher, now I'm a full-time content creator, and I first started bullet journaling at the end of my first year of teaching. I was a bit of a scatterbrained mess, had a lot of things to keep track of and a lot of things to do, and knowing when and where my classes were going to be was kind of important. Thus, having a timetable in the very inside cover of my journal made for a super handy reference. I knew what classes I had when, I knew where I needed to be. The timetable at my school was split into 6 different periods, which is what I'm drawing on this one here, but we also had 2 separate timetables because we had like an A week and a B week. So in setting up the timetable that you put in the front of your journal, make sure that you're considering how your days are actually structured. Have as many rows as you need for the different periods or classes, and what I'd also typically do is put in some rows for lunchtime and other break times, mainly because sometimes things are happening during those slots and we still want to keep track of what's going on. This could be tutorials, sports practice, any kind of clubs that you're involved in. We effectively want this timetable to be a one-stop shop for all of the things that go on in a typical week at school. If I were making this for myself as a university student, I'd probably make it a time-based timetable rather than a period or class-based timetable, mainly because my lectures and tutorial sessions weren't necessarily the same amount of time every single day or for every single slot, but still this would be the very first thing that I put into my notebook. Excuse me while I maim my notebook here, but it is all for a good reason. The next thing that I'd set up in the journal would be a front of journal pocket. This is effectively done just by taking the first dot grid page, cutting away the top of the page, and then sticking down the outer edge and lower edge of the paper that's left over. This is a good way to deal with that first dot grid page, which as you saw is quite stuck to that inner card, mainly because it's a little bit hard to open already, so using it as a regular page with stuff written on it can be a little bit tricky. The idea behind turning this into a pocket though is that anytime I get assignments or forms, things that I need to take home or transport to and from school, those can be slipped into there for safekeeping. This wouldn't be for every single paper that I get from every single class, but more so papers that have things on them that I need to action. For instance, permission slips that need to be signed, assignment sheets that need to be completed, anything that can be flat and folded so that it fits into that pocket in my journal. The reason that I'd put it at the front rather than just using the gusseted pocket at the back of a notebook is because I find that most of the time things that I put in the back pocket get forgotten. If it's in this front pocket though, I'm much more likely to remember that it's there and also turn to it and get it out and do the tasks associated with those papers. Because I know that the front of journal real estate is super important for anything that I want to have very accessible, the next thing that I put in would be a study toolkit. As you can see, I started by decorating the page a little with some PET tape. This one's from the washi tape shop, because even though this page is going to be very functional, I still want it to be pretty. I find that if my journal doesn't look nice, I'm not very inclined to use it, which kind of defeats the purpose of setting it up, so we need to make it look good. But the way this layout is going to work is that I'm writing in some little headers for each of the different elements in my study toolkit, and then I'm going to go and generate some QR codes that I can stick into this page. Let me know if you relate, but anytime I open up my phone to do anything, I get distracted by a notification, end up scrolling a whole bunch of reels on Instagram, and then when I finally realize I'm wasting time, I put my phone down and then think, oh, no, I didn't actually do the one thing that I opened my phone to do. By having QR codes on this page instead, it means that I can just open up the camera on my phone, which I can do from the lock screen, so I don't have to see any notifications, scan the QR code, and it takes me directly to the thing that I want to access. On this one, I'd put things like timers for Pomodoros, a study playlist if I have particular music that I like to listen to, and also any online spaces that I use for school. This could be places to submit my assignments, places to ask for help and get resources, effectively anything that's web-based that I can make a QR code for that would be helpful in my study endeavors. As said, I want this one at the front of the journal so it's really accessible, and by having it next to the pocket, I can also make sure that the things I'm putting in here would be useful for actioning the items that end up in that pocket, whether they be assignments, forms, whatever else. Flipping over though and getting into a layout that I would use regardless of whether I was a student or not. In fact, I do put this in pretty much any journal I set up, and that is a year at a glance. This one is effectively what it sounds like, so just a way to see the entire year on one page. For this one, we're just writing out mini calendars for each of the months for a year from the start of the notebook. When you start this one very much depends on when your school year is. I'm starting this one in August because that's when I'm setting it up. But where I'm based, the school year goes from January to December, so I'd probably be more inclined to put that in here. It very much depends on what your calendar year is, when it starts, also how long you want to use this journal for. For instance, if you're planning on using it for 2 years, then having 2 calendar years on here would make sense. In terms of how I would use this one though, it's not just as a reference to see which calendar date falls on what day, but more so a way to denote specific happenings. I'd be inclined to use color codes to indicate time on or off school. So when are our vacations, when are staff only days, public holidays, anything like that. And I could also circle dates to indicate other happenings, like assignments, assessments, field trips, sports days, anything that was a little outside of the ordinary. Depending on how much information I want to capture on this one, I'd probably also include a key, either at the top or bottom of the page, depending on how I set the layout up, or possibly as a little tip-in if I didn't have enough space on the page itself. In making that key, I'd also be inclined to write down the pen numbers that I'm using, especially if I don't plan on keeping those pens on me on a regular basis, just to make sure that I'm using the right pens with the right colors when it comes to denoting any information on there. I used a very similar system when I was a teacher, so putting in the holidays, putting in stuff only days. I also used it for times that I was sick because I wanted to keep track of how many sick days I had and thus how much sick leave I had remaining. While that might not be so necessary for you as a student, it could be useful if you're looking to keep up your attendance. Long story short though, the year at a glance doesn't just have to be a filler page in your setup. It can actually be really functional and really helpful for life as a student. In terms of the page we're setting up on the right, this one is going to be a future log. This is also another collection that I do set up typically in my journals, not necessarily in the style I'm using here, but this style in particular I've chosen because if I were a student, I would break my future log down into terms, or trimesters, semesters, whichever kind of span of time your learning institute uses. For me, when I was at high school, it was terms, so we had 4 of those a year, and when I was at university, we had trimesters, so 3 of those a year, but one of them I very rarely had classes in because that was the summer trimester. It was a little bit shorter, it was only really for kind of specialty classes. In the one I'm setting up here though, you can see we have 4 different sections for those 4 terms, and I just label them as term 1 through 4. On that one, I'd write down the specific dates for pieces of work being due, or tests, anything that warrants keeping track of. But flipping over, and the next layout we're setting up is an ideal weekly schedule, or what some people call an ideal ordinary week. When it comes to using our time effectively, this actually could be very useful for anybody, regardless of whether they're a student or not. But it's just thinking about, on a typical week, how would I like to be spending my time? This doesn't necessarily mean that every single week is going to be like this, but by considering how we would like to be spending our time, making sure we have a good balance between focusing on our studies and extracurriculars, and then just self-care, time with your friends and family, anything else that's important to you. If we have this ideal schedule, then we can compare it against what's actually happening in our lives. We can then start to consider what changes we can make to strive towards this more idealized version. Now, as said, this is an ideal ordinary week, so this isn't like a week off to sit around, lounge on your phone, completely shirk your responsibilities, but more so on a week that you actually have school and have to attend classes or whatever else. How would you like to structure that week so that you make time for everything that's important? The way that I've set this one up is so that each of the days gets a column, and then down the left-hand side we have a space for a key. This is so that you don't have to write a whole bunch of things all over the schedule. You can just use colors and patterns to indicate different blocks of of time with different happenings. The way that this one is different to a timetable though is that the timetable only focuses on your in-school hours, with maybe a little bit before and after school depending on what's going on and how you structure it. This one on the other hand expands it so it considers your waking hours, so all of the time that you have available across the week, not just at school but also at home, on the weekends, in your evenings, all of that kind of thing. The aim here is not necessarily to fill every single gap with study blocks and things like that, but if you go in with the intention of having time set aside for those things, you're more likely to actually get your study done and achieve a little bit more balance in your life. You're not just studying or just socializing. This is another one that I might be inclined to actually just type up on a computer, maybe in Excel or Google Sheets, then print it off and stick it into my notebook, just so then it's nice and neat, and if changes need to be made, I can just tweak it on the computer and then print out another one. It also means that then when I go and set up my next journal, I don't have to fully start from scratch and draw the layout out again. I can just print off another copy and stick that one in. It might be good to set up 2 of these, one for when you're at school and one for when you're on your holiday period, just so that you're making the most of your time across that period too. But the next layout that I'm setting up here is a spaced repetition log, or effectively a layout that I can use to help me keep track of spaced repetition that I would use towards studying different topics. Spaced repetition is one of the best studying techniques there is, and so if I were a student, I'd want to make sure that I had a space dedicated in my journal towards using it. This one I've just set up using the Alastair method, so we have columns running down the left-hand side to indicate different time periods that I want to study the topics on, and then the larger column that takes up the right-hand side is just to write out the topics that I would be revising. Depending on how granular I want to get with this one, I might set up a separate log for each of my subjects, or if I'm at university, each of the papers or courses that I'm taking. But to encourage myself not to cram so much and not to just rely on note-taking and rereading, having a layout like this would help me build my understanding of those topics over time. If you're like, Jess, what the heck is spaced repetition? I have not heard of this before. It effectively just relies on the idea of exposing ourselves to content multiple times, rather than just studying something once or reading over it once and hoping that we're going to remember it. The general idea is that you revise the concepts from a lesson on the day that it was provided to you, and then you revise it again 3 days later. After that, you revise it again a week later, then maybe 2 weeks later, with the time between each revision of that material getting a little bit longer. That's why for the columns that I've set up on the left-hand side, they specify what time periods I want to be studying the materials on. So studying it on day 1, day 3, a week later, a month later. I'd probably also have a 2-week period in there, but this one is just an example. Heading into the kind of layouts that I'd set up on a more regular basis, rather than the ones that are just start of journal setups, one-offs, the one we have here is a term schedule, and I'd be inclined to use this in replacement of a monthly log, mainly because I would be thinking term-based rather than month-based when it came to things I needed to do. This one could also be thought of as a term overview, so just having a column for each day of the week and a row for each of the weeks that are in that term. Depending on how much I'd have to write down, I might expand this so that it covered the full spread rather than just one page, but this is the layout that I would use to again summarize what I had going on in terms of assessments, homework due, tests, just to help keep myself on track of the things that needed to be done and when they needed to be submitted. In terms of the little dots that I've put out on the term schedule, I'm not just using these to denote where each of the days actually is. You could put a full grid in for this one if you wanted to separate each of those days and weeks. But you could also use those to either write in the day number so that you know what date each of those days falls on, or you could use it as a checkbox to indicate your progress throughout the term. I did find myself using a lot of term countdowns when it came to teaching, and I'd probably be inclined to use them as a student as well. On the right hand side though, this one is going to be an assignment log. I'd keep this one beside the term schedule, or at least fairly close to it, so that then I have not only a summary of when they are due on that term schedule, but also a summary of the stages that I need to complete in working on each assessment piece. Depending on what you want to call it, it could also be a homework log, or you could use this for something like a reading log, writing down all of the readings that you need to do for your lessons. But the general structure is again based on the Alastair method, so we have a column to indicate each of the different stages on working on an assignment, and then the larger section on the left is there to write down what the assignment is. You could indicate what class it's for, the title of the assignment. You could also include additional information like its weighting towards your overall grade in a class, if it's worth a certain amount of points, anything like that. But I've kept this one fairly simple to just focusing on getting the work done, getting it submitted, and then recording my grades in wherever I'm keeping those. I did consider setting up some kind of a grade log in this journal setup, but in keeping with the idea of the layouts that I would set up if I were a student, I probably wouldn't keep that one in a paper-based format. I'd be more inclined to keep it digitally, mainly because I like to use Excel to do percentages, calculations, all of that kind of thing, to see how I'm tracking in a class and how much I need to get on a final assessment to get the best grade possible. That's a little bit easier to do in something like Excel. I don't want to have to do all the math on paper. But flipping over, and the next layout we're setting up is a weekly log. Now, I quite enjoy trying different styles of weekly log, changing things up, but if I were a student and I wanted to focus more on my studies than creating a different style of weekly every week, this is the style that I would be inclined to use. On this one, we have two distinct halves. So on the left-hand side, this is where I break things down by day, have a little priorities list, have a space to write down any routines that I was trying to build, or effectively have a habit tracker. And then on the right-hand side, this is where I'd write out all my tasks. Again, in this one, I would be using the Alistair method. It is one of my favorite styles to use in my journal, just because it's a really nice way to summarize information. In this one, I'd be using it to indicate what day I wanted to do all of my tasks on, because the day specific sections on the left, I would probably be inclined to use not so much for tasks, but more so for events, happenings, due dates. I could write out a list of the classes that I had going on each of those days and check off once I attended them. As for the priorities section, which is in that kind of second column on the left-hand page, this is probably a little bit larger than I would like to have for priorities, mainly because if you have too many priorities, then you realistically have none. So I'd possibly cut that one in half and have a section underneath it, or just above the habit tracker, for something like a meal plan, maybe a little water tracker, gratitude log, whatever felt necessary on that week in particular. Overall though, this is the structure that I'd probably be inclined to use, because it's not too hard to set up, it still looks visually appealing, at least to me, and it would help keep me organized. In terms of the layouts that we've set up in this video, as said, these are specifically the ones that I would use if I were a student again. There are also layouts that I would probably include outside of the realm of student life, so things not so much related to my studies or academics, but these are the core ones that would help organize me as a student. If you're looking for more layout ideas, obviously this isn't a definitive list, we do have a separate video with another 30 ideas that can be used in your student journal. That one is worth checking out to make sure that you enter the new school year cool, calm and collected, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.